March 14th, 1968, a Thursday. The day 8 of the world's richest nations discovered they couldn't fight the market anymore. After secretly manipulating gold prices for 7 years, spending billions to maintain an impossible lie, the London gold pool collapsed in a single afternoon. What followed was the complete destruction of the global monetary system, the end of gold-backed currency, and the birth of the infinite money printing we know today. This is the story nobody tells you about why your money isn't real anymore. Picture this. It's 1961. 8 countries control most of the world's gold reserves: the United States, United Kingdom, West Germany, France, Italy, Belgium, Netherlands, and Switzerland. Together, they hold over 24,000 tons of gold, worth $30 billion. They meet in secret and form a cartel, not to raise prices like OPEC would do with oil, but to suppress them, to keep gold at exactly $35 per ounce, no matter what the market wants. They call it the London Gold Pool, and for 7 years, it works perfectly, until it doesn't. You need to understand something crucial. Before 1968, money was real. Every dollar was backed by gold. The Bretton Woods system, created in 1944, made the U.S. dollar the world's reserve currency, convertible to gold at $35 per ounce. Other currencies were pegged to the dollar. It was elegant, simple, and stable. But it had one fatal flaw. It required America to have enough gold to back every dollar. And by 1960, America was printing far more dollars than it had gold. The math didn't work. Something had to break. The problem starts innocently. Post-war reconstruction needs dollars. The Marshall Plan sends billions to Europe. Military bases worldwide require funding. The Korean War costs fortune. By 1960, there are $19 billion in foreign-held dollars, but only $17 billion in U.S. gold reserves. Foreigners could theoretically demand all America's gold and still be owed $2 billion. The French president, Charles de Gaulle, sees this immediately. He starts converting dollars to gold, loading it onto warships, literally sailing America's gold back to Paris. Other countries watch nervously. If everyone demands gold, the system collapses. Enter the London Gold Pool. The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. The 8 nations pool their gold reserves. When gold prices rise above $35.20, they sell. When it falls below $34.80, they buy. They control enough gold to overwhelm any private buyer or seller. The Bank of England manages operations from a secret trading room in London. Every morning at 10:30 a.m., they set the price. The free market is an illusion. 8 men in a room decide what gold is worth for the entire planet. At first, it's easy. The pool actually makes money. From 1961 to 1964, they accumulate gold, buying cheap from Soviet Union and South African mines. The members split profits proportionally. America provides 50% of the gold, gets 50% of gains. Britain provides 11%, Germany 11%, France 9%, Italy 9%, and the smaller nations share the rest. It feels like they've discovered perpetual motion, a machine that prints money forever. They haven't. They've built a dam against an ocean, and the pressure is building. The cracks appear in 1965. The Vietnam War escalates. America needs billions for military operations. But raising taxes is politically impossible. So they print money, lots of money. The budget deficit explodes. Inflation creeps up. Smart investors realize what's happening. If America is printing dollars faster than mining gold, then gold at $35 is incredibly undervalued. They start buying, not selling. The gold pool has to sell more and more to maintain the price. The profits turn to losses. By 1967, the situation is desperate. The pool is hemorrhaging gold. In October alone, They lose $575 million worth. The Bank of England's secret vault, which holds the pool's gold, is emptying rapidly. Trucks arrive daily to haul away gold bars, shipped to buyers worldwide. The public doesn't know, but central bankers are panicking. They're fighting the entire world. Every investor, every government, every person who understands math is betting against them, and the bettors are winning. The French break first. De Gaulle, always suspicious of Anglo-American financial dominance, sees what's happening. France is selling its gold to maintain a system that primarily benefits America and Britain. In June 1967, he pulls France out of the pool. Now it's 7 against the world. The remaining members have to cover France's 9% share. The selling intensifies. The pool loses $100 million in November. The dam is cracking. Everyone can hear it, but they keep pretending it's fine. December 1967 brings chaos. Sterling is devalued. The British pound, one of the world's reserve currencies, drops 14% overnight. If Britain can't maintain its currency, how can the gold pool maintain gold prices? Speculation explodes. Everyone wants gold. The pool sells $1.5 billion worth in 3 months. The vault is nearly empty. Emergency meetings are held in Basel, Switzerland. The central bankers know it's over, but admitting it means destroying the global financial system. So they lie. They announce the pool is strong, committed, unbreakable. The market doesn't believe them. March 1968 is the endgame. On March 1st, speculators buy 20 tons of gold. On March 8th, 40 tons. On March 13th, 100 tons. On March 14th, the dam breaks. Before lunch, speculators buy 175 tons. After lunch, 225 tons. In a single day, the pool loses 400 tons of gold, worth $450 million. That's $3.5 billion in today's money, gone in hours. The Bank of England's gold vault, which held 5,000 tons in 1966, now has less than 1,000. They're not just losing, they're being annihilated. That evening, emergency calls connect Washington, London, Bonn, Rome. The decision is made. At 5:30 p.m., Queen Elizabeth II declares a bank holiday. The London gold market will close. For the first time since the 1930s, you cannot buy gold in London. The pool is dead. The system is dead. The pretense that money is backed by gold is dead. They just haven't admitted it yet. The financial world holds its breath. What happens when the market reopens? What happens to the dollar? What happens to money itself? But here's what the central bankers know that the public doesn't. They never intended to reopen the gold market the same way. While London is closed, they're planning something unprecedented. They're going to split reality in two. There will be an official gold price for central banks, still $35, and a free market price for everyone else, whatever the market decides. It's not a solution. It's an admission of defeat disguised as policy. The free market has defeated 8 of the most powerful nations on Earth. The London gold pool's collapse isn't just about gold. It's about trust. For 7 years, the world's most powerful governments promised gold was worth $35. They spent billions of their citizens' money defending that promise. And they failed. If they can't keep gold at $35, what else are they lying about? The answer, as we'll see, is everything. The collapse of the gold pool leads directly to the collapse of Bretton Woods, the end of gold-backed currency, and the beginning of the fiat money experiment we're still living in today. The London gold pool collapse. The day countries lost billions. March 15, 1968. London is closed. For the first time since the Great Depression, you cannot trade gold in the world's largest gold market. Panic spreads through financial capitals. In Zurich, gold trades at $44 per ounce, 25% above the official price. In Paris, it hits $45. In Hong Kong, $46. The free market has escaped its cage. While politicians meet in emergency sessions, Ordinary people queue outside banks, trying to convert paper money to something, anything, real. They sense what's coming, the end of money as they know it. The emergency meeting happens in Washington over the weekend. 7 central bank governors, their top advisors, translators, security details, they lock themselves in the Federal Reserve Building. No press, no leaks. They have 48 hours to prevent global financial collapse. The American delegation, led by Federal Reserve Chairman William McChesney Martin, lays out the brutal truth. The United States has 10,000 tons of gold left. At the current rate of loss, they'll be bankrupt by summer. The gold standard is dead. They just need to figure out how to bury it without destroying the world economy. The arguments are vicious. Germany wants to maintain the gold standard at a higher price, maybe $50 or $70 per ounce. Italy suggests capital controls, making it illegal for citizens to own gold. Britain, nearly bankrupt itself, just wants to survive. But everyone knows the real issue. America has printed too many dollars. The Vietnam War cost $25 billion per year. The Great Society programs cost billions more. The deficit is exploding. There's no way to back all these dollars with gold. The math is impossible. The solution they announce on March 17th is surreal. They create 2 gold markets, an official market where central banks trade gold at $35 per ounce, and a free market where everyone else trades at whatever price supply and demand determine. It's like declaring that gravity works differently for governments than for citizens. The press release uses bureaucratic language to hide the absurdity. The governors believe that henceforth officially held gold should be used only to effect transfers among monetary authorities. Translation: we give up. The immediate reaction is confusion. How can gold have 2 prices? It's like saying water freezes at different temperatures depending on who's measuring. But the central bankers aren't trying to make sense. They're buying time. They know the 2-tier system is unstable, unsustainable, insane. But they need breathing room to figure out what comes next. Because what comes next is revolutionary. Money without any backing at all. Pure fiat currency. Paper backed by nothing except government promises. Francis de Gaulle sees through the charade immediately. At a press conference, he declares the 2-tier system trickery and demands real reform. He continues converting dollars to gold at $35, draining American reserves. Other countries watch and learn. If gold trades at $44 in the free market, but you can buy it from America at $35, that's instant 25% profit. The arbitrage opportunity is massive. America is basically subsidizing the world's gold purchases with taxpayer money. By May 1968, the free market gold price stabilizes around $40 to $42. The pool members congratulate themselves. See, the system works. But it's an illusion. The only reason the price isn't higher is that speculators are waiting. They know America can't maintain this forever. They're accumulating dollars, preparing for the final assault. It's like circling sharks, smelling blood. The feeding frenzy is coming. Meanwhile, inside the Treasury and Federal Reserve, panic mode continues. Secret memos calculate how long America's gold will last. 6 months? A year? The Vietnam War is consuming $30 billion annually. The budget deficit hits $25 billion. Trade deficits are growing. Foreign countries hold $35 billion in dollars, but America has only $10 billion in gold. If even 1/3 demand conversion, the game is over. They need a solution, fast. The solution comes from an unexpected source, the IMF. They propose special drawing rights, SDRS, essentially paper gold. Countries can settle debts with SDRS instead of real gold. It's imaginary money for international trade. Critics call it paper gold or funny money. But desperate times require desperate measures. The SDR is approved in 1969. For the first time in history, the world agrees to use purely fictional money for international settlements. It's a small step toward complete fiat currency, but SDRs don't solve the fundamental problem. America is still hemorrhaging gold. In 1969, they lose another 1,000 tons. In 1970, 500 tons more. Foreign governments, especially France and Switzerland, keep demanding conversion. The two-tier system is failing. Gold in the free market rises to $43, then $44, then $45. The gap between official and market prices widens. Everyone knows this can't continue. The only question is when it ends and how badly. The pressure intensifies in 1971. By spring, America's gold reserves fall below 9,000 tons, the lowest since 1938. Foreign dollar holdings exceed $50 billion. The British ambassador privately tells Nixon they might have to demand gold. Germany is considering the same. If either moves, others will follow. It'll be a run on the bank, except the bank is the United States Treasury. Nixon's advisors paint apocalyptic scenarios. The dollar collapses. International trade freezes. Allies become enemies. War is possible. Nixon himself is not a financial expert. He famously says, "I don't give a shit about the lira." But he understands power. And he knows America is about to lose its financial superpower status. His advisors present options: raise the gold price to $70 or $100, impose capital controls, declare bankruptcy. Each option is worse than the last. Then Paul Volcker, a Treasury official, suggests something radical. Don't reform the system. Abandon it. Close the gold window. Make the dollar purely fiat. It's never been done by a major power. It could work. It could also destroy everything. Secret meetings intensify. Camp David, August 13th to 15th, 1971. Nixon, his economic team, and Federal Reserve officials. No wives, no press, no leaks. They debate for 48 hours straight. Treasury Secretary John Connally, a tough Texan, argues for the nuclear option. "Fuck the foreigners," he actually says. "They can't do anything about it." Others worry about retaliation, trade wars, military consequences. But the math is undeniable. At current rates, America's gold will be gone by December. They have no choice. The consequences of their decision will ripple through history. The inflation of the 1970s, the financialization of the economy, the debt explosions of recent decades, the 2008 financial crisis, the current everything bubble, all trace back to this moment when they decided money doesn't need to be real. It just needs to be believed. And for 50 years, the world has believed. But belief, unlike gold, can evaporate instantly. The London gold pool's collapse exposed a fundamental truth. Governments will always choose printing money over fiscal discipline. Given the choice between raising taxes or cutting spending, politically painful, versus printing money, politically easy, they'll print every time. The pool spent billions trying to deny this reality. They failed, and their failure changed money forever. We're still living with the consequences. Every dollar in your pocket is a descendant of that failure. The London gold pool collapse. The day countries lost billions. Sunday, August 15th, 1971, 9 p.m. Eastern. President Richard Nixon interrupts Bonanza, America's favorite TV show, for an emergency announcement. Millions of Americans, annoyed at missing their Western, are about to witness the most radical monetary decision in human history. Nixon, reading from teleprompters, declares a 90-day wage and price freeze to combat inflation. He announces a 10% import tax. Then, almost casually, he drops the bomb. "I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold." Temporarily. It's been 53 years. That's one hell of a temporary suspension. The speech lasts 18 minutes. Nixon uses simple language, appeals to patriotism, blames speculators and foreigners. He never mentions the London gold pool, the two-tier system, or the fact that America is essentially defaulting on its obligations. He frames it as strength, not desperation. We must protect the dollar from the attacks of international money speculators. The speculators aren't attacking. They're just doing math. And the math says dollars are worthless paper. Nixon just confirmed it. The international reaction is volcanic. In Tokyo, the stock market crashes 20% in 3 days. European leaders call it economic war. The French finance minister says America has thrown a lighted match into a powder keg. But what can they do? Their entire monetary system is built on the dollar. They hold tens of billions in suddenly unconvertible paper. America has pulled off history's greatest heist. They printed paper, exchanged it for real goods, then declared the paper worthless. It's brilliant and ruthless. Monday morning, August 16th, chaos. Foreign exchange markets freeze. Nobody knows what anything is worth anymore. If dollars aren't gold, what are they? If the anchor currency is floating, what happens to every other currency? Central banks meet in emergency sessions. The London gold market, reopened after the pool's collapse, goes insane. Gold jumps from $42 to $44 in hours. Within days, it's at $47. Within weeks, $50. The official $35 price is now fiction that nobody pretends to believe. But here's the genius of Nixon's move. He forced the world to keep using dollars anyway. How? Because there's no alternative. Global trade runs on dollars. Oil is priced in dollars. International debt is denominated in dollars. Every central bank holds dollar reserves. Abandoning the dollar means abandoning the entire global financial system. It's like discovering your house is built on sand, but you can't move because every other house is built on the same sand. So you pretend the sand is solid and hope nobody tests it. The Smithsonian Agreement, December 1971, is the attempt to restore order. The major powers meet and agree to new exchange rates. The dollar is effectively devalued by 8%. Gold's official price rises to $38, but it's theater. The free market price is already $43 and rising. Everyone knows the new rates won't hold. They're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. The ship is sinking. The gold standard is dead. They're just arguing about the funeral arrangements. 1972 brings the predictable. The new exchange rates collapse. Countries start floating their currencies. The British pound floats in June. The Swiss franc in January 1973. By March 1973, all major currencies are floating. The Bretton Woods system, which provided monetary stability for 30 years, is officially dead. We've entered the era of fiat currency, money backed by nothing except government promises. The London gold pool's failure in 1968 started the avalanche. Nixon's shock in 1971 confirmed it. The consequences are immediate and devastating. Inflation explodes worldwide. In America, it hits 11% by 1974. In Britain, 24%. In Japan, 23%. The stable prices of the gold standard era are replaced by continuous debasement. The purchasing power of every major currency collapses. What cost $1 in 1971 costs $7 today. That's not inflation. That's theft. Silent, continuous, systematic theft from everyone who holds money. Gold, freed from artificial constraints, shows what the market really thinks. From $35 in 1968, it rises to $195 by 1974, then $850 by 1974, 1980. That's not gold becoming more valuable. That's paper money becoming worthless. Every dollar represents a smaller and smaller claim on real wealth. The London gold pool spent billions trying to prevent this. They failed. And their failure proved that markets, not governments, ultimately determine value. But the real tragedy isn't the money lost. It's the trust destroyed. Before 1968, people believed their money was real, backed by gold in government vaults. The London gold pool's collapse exposed that as fiction. Nixon's shock confirmed it. Now we live in a world where money is created from nothing by typing numbers into computers. The Federal Reserve created $4 trillion in 2020 alone. The European Central Bank, the Bank of Japan, all creating trillions from thin air. It's the logical endpoint of abandoning gold: infinite money. This system has created unprecedented distortions, asset prices disconnected from reality, stocks, bonds, real estate, all inflated by endless money printing, the wealth gap exploding as asset owners get richer while wage earners get poorer, debt levels that can never be repaid, financial crises that require ever larger bailouts. All of this traces back to March 14, 1968, when the London gold pool collapsed and proved that governments can't fight markets forever. The former pool members learned different lessons. Britain, nearly bankrupt, retreated from empire and embraced finance. London became the world's money laundering capital, replacing gold trading with derivative trading. France, bitter about Anglo-American monetary dominance, pushed for the euro, creating its own fiat currency to rival the dollar. Germany, traumatized by Weimar hyperinflation, became obsessed with monetary discipline, at least until the euro made that impossible. America learned the most important lesson. If you can't maintain gold backing, make sure everyone needs your paper anyway. The petrodollar system, created in 1974, forces the world to use dollars for oil purchases. Military supremacy ensures compliance. Financial sanctions punish dissent. The dollar's dominance isn't based on gold anymore. It's based on aircraft carriers, SWIFT payment systems, and the implicit threat that crossing America means economic isolation. It's not a gold standard, it's a gun standard. Today, we're seeing the final act of the London gold pool's collapse. Countries are abandoning the dollar system. Russia and China trade in their own currencies. Saudi Arabia considers pricing oil in yuan. Central banks are buying gold at record rates. Digital currencies threaten government monopolies on money creation. The system born from the pool's failure is itself failing. What comes next is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the age of government-controlled money is ending. The lessons are profound. First, reality always wins. You can suppress gold prices for 7 years, but not forever. You can print money for 50 years, but not forever. Eventually, math wins. Second, governments will always choose easy money over hard choices. The London gold pool could have succeeded if America had balanced its budget. Instead, they printed and spent until the system broke. They're still doing it. Third, the costs are always paid by ordinary people. The pool members lost billions in gold, but taxpayers funded those losses. Nixon's shock destroyed savings, but politicians avoided hard choices. The London gold pool lasted exactly 2,412 days, from November 1st, 1961 to March 14th, 1968. In that time, it sold approximately 3,000 tons of gold, trying to maintain an impossible price. That gold, worth $3.4 billion then, would be worth $195 billion today. It was the most expensive market manipulation in history, and it failed completely. The price the pool died defending, $35 per ounce, looks absurd now with gold at $2,000. They didn't just lose the battle, they lost the war. As we face another monetary crisis, with inflation raging, debt exploding, and currencies collapsing, remember the London gold pool. Remember how 8 powerful nations spent billions trying to deny reality. Remember how they failed? Remember how that failure destroyed the monetary system and created the mess we're in today. Because those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And right now, it looks like we're repeating it on a scale that makes 1968 look like a rehearsal. The London gold pool's collapse wasn't just a financial event. It was the moment we abandoned reality for fantasy, substance for promises, gold for paper. We've been living in that fantasy for 55 years. But fantasies, like gold pools, eventually collapse. When this one does, when the fiat currency experiment finally ends, remember it started on March 14, 1968, the day countries lost billions trying to fight the market. The market won then. It will win again. It always does. The London gold pool collapse, the day countries lost billions.